Hi, I'm Trent Hansen. This is our 2018 Dodge Durango SRT, and today I'm going to walk you through some of the things that I like and dislike since I owned it from brand new 3 years ago. First, I'm going to give you a little walk around, explain some things on the exterior, and then we can go to the interior. So it's badged right here. It says 392. That signifies the cubic inches of the engine in this. It's the same one that you'd find in an SRT Charger, SRT Challenger. It's the same block that you'd find in the Ram Heavy Duties with the 6.4 liter V8. It's got Brembo brakes all the way around, 6 piston in the front, and got some real stopping power, but all-wheel drive. Handles the rain and snow like a champ. Basically, the only thing we've done here on the exterior is add the mud guards. We got a roof rack and tinted the front windows as well. When you come back here to the back hatch has an SRT badge. We've got the Durango. This 4 signifies the all-wheel drive, and then 4-inch exhaust tips is unique to the SRT. This one also has the towing package, and it actually has a tow rating higher than a Chevy Tahoe at 8,700 pounds. And that is basically it on the exterior. All right, so we'll start back here in the back of the Durango, and this is with the 3rd row up. One of the things that originally appealed to me about the Durango over a Jeep Cherokee SRT, for example, is having this 3rd row. The longer wheelbase causes it to ride quite a bit nicer than the Jeep, and I just like the styling of the Durango. Got some underfloor storage here, which is nice. There's also the subwoofer in here for the Beats sound system. And then if we really need space and don't need this 3rd row, these very easily pop down independently from each other and create a lot of space here in the back. Tons of cargo room back here at this point, and the 3rd row, honestly, I've sat back there and it is actually comfortable for a 3rd row seat. So access from the 2nd to the 3rd row is really simple. Pull a lever here. I got a strap readily available right here, and this pops all the way up, so it's super easy to get back here into the 3rd row. One of the options we selected when we bought this was the center console. It's kind of nice. It's got cup holders down here. It also has a bunch of storage in here, and even has USB and 12-volt charging outlets for people that have their electronics in the back seat. One of the options that's available in this vehicle that we didn't go with are the rear DVD headrests. So that's not in this Durango, but it does have fully independent rear air, so the rear passengers can set whatever temperature and comfort zone they want here in the back seat. It also has heated rear seats. Both of these 2nd row captain's chairs have 2 heat setting levels right down here. All right, looking at it from the driver's side here, we've got the moonroof here. We have the SRT badge on the steering wheel, obviously unique to the SRT. Got phone controls and voice recognition over here. Adaptive cruise control is controlled here. We've got a power steering wheel, telescoping. We've also got the power driver passenger seats. Got not only auto headlights, but it also has automatic high beams, which is a nice feature. So at night, when you're cruising along and you meet another vehicle, it'll automatically turn your high beams off and then back on after they pass. One of the features I really like about it, when I first got the vehicle, it was my first car with adaptive cruise control. I wasn't sure how I felt about that, but do a lot of freeway driving, and honestly, it's a very nice feature to have. As you come up on a car, it slows down and you can set the distance. These buttons actually here on the steering wheel are what control your distance from the vehicle in front of you. And it just adjusts the speed as you need to for the traffic. This Durango also has a Beats sound system. So what used to be Beats by Dre got bought by Apple. Beats has been put in this car. It's Obviously has pretty amazing bass for a factory sound system being built by Beats. All right, here we are in the interior of the Durango SRT, and let's get to the real part of the video that everybody's been waiting for. Let's take it for a drive. It's push button start. Listen to that healthy Hemi come alive. I've got all sorts of different things I can look at on the instrumentation here. Right now, I've got it on fuel economy average, which it's given me over a period of time there in the middle, and then kind of giving a live sliding bar up top and around the edges. All right, so in addition to miles per gallon over here in the center, I can scroll through numerous different things. Here it's kind of telling me the driver assist features. Here will give me some of the SRT metrics. We can get what we measure on the skid pad. We can get timers for quarter mile, 0 to 60, lap history, top speed, reaction timer. Let's see, 0 to 100 mile per hour timer. It'll get there pretty quick, I promise. Eighth of a mile, quarter mile, braking distance. I mean, kind of goes through everything. It's pretty neat. Here we have oil life, battery voltage, intake air temperature, what the engine's currently putting out for torque, horsepower, tire pressure, coolant temp, transmission temp, oil temp, everything you need to know really for a day at the track, keeping track of the car, taking care of it, making sure nothing gets out of whack. If you really want to go track a 5,500 pound car, this is the one to do it with. So here we have a diagnostic screen. So essentially you don't need a code reader with this vehicle. It'll tell you if it has any active codes. So I can just hit OK to view any active codes, and it's going to come back and tell me there are none. Not only is it just a solid drivetrain, but we just take really good care of it. So we have no codes throwing on there. So you see right here, we're following this pickup in front of us, and if I want to get adaptive cruise control going, I just hit this little button down here, and then I hit set like I normally do my cruise control. I can set it to whatever speed I want on the instrument cluster, and then it's just going to maintain this distance from this pickup. I take my foot off the brake, off the gas, and it'll do this pretty much all the way to a stop. And then up to my set speed. So if he sped up and was going super fast, it would stop accelerating at the speed that I set for it, whether that's the speed limit or a little over for some of you. So some of the coolest things about having an SRT are the different modes that you can put the vehicle in. So right here, this is just, I've displayed the screen from hitting the SRT button. And up here at the top, I've got different settings, which will actually adjust the dampeners and the suspension. It'll adjust the engine timing, the transmission shift points, all that. So right now I've got it on auto. That kind of gives you your best of all worlds. You're getting a smooth ride, and everything's pretty snappy and responsive. All-wheel drive is kind of almost a 50-50, but here, if I go into snow mode, for example, you can see the changes that were made. It's going to be full 50-50 all-wheel drive. Transmission's going to be a little bit less responsive and try to give the vehicle a little bit better traction. Suspension stays on street, nice and soft. If I go into tow mode here, something that's really cool is when it's in tow mode, because it has to put out obviously more horsepower and torque, the engine makes more noise, but to make it a more comfortable ride while you're towing something, this cabin actually has active noise canceling. So there's a bunch of microphones in here that actively noise cancel when you're towing something. If we go to sport, that's going to give us about 60% rear wheel drive, 40 front. It's going to make the transmission a little snappier, make the engine a little higher performance. And if we go track, that makes our suspension super tight. The transmission really pops off gears, and it's just our high performance mode. I mean, the steering gets tight, everything is a little bit rougher, but it truly reduces the body roll and just makes it very fun to drive on a good road. So when you're in a specific mode, like here we're in tow mode, you can actually go to tow setup and change things as you like. So if you have some different things that you want to do than what the factory mode is, you can go in and do that yourself. Let's see, what else do we have here? Race options. So let's say we go to track, we go to race options. You know, it's giving us some launch control options, and I'll show you that here when we drive in a little bit, what launch control is. But It really helps you take off. You can get a shift light for when it wants you to shift if you're using the paddle controls. And then we also over here have valet mode. So if you're taking it somewhere or your kid's going to be driving it or something and you want to restrict the horsepower, it'll drop it down to essentially what's 300 horsepower from the standard 475. And then to get it back out of valet mode, you just use a PIN number that you set. Up here is performance pages. This is also unique to SRT. So it takes a second to load, but it's going to give us a whole bunch of information about the vehicle. So if you have it out and you're running it at the track, it's going to give you all this information. It'll show you which gear you're in. Obviously right now here we're in park. We got our oil pressure, torque, and power as we go. Got a dyno screen here. It's going to show us our history of torque and power. We can get our G-force here all the way around if you're doing skid pad work. Gauges here, coolant, oil pressure, battery voltage, a bunch of good information for timing it and tracking it. And then here we've got all of our timers ready to go. And the home screen just gives us basically a little bit of a summary of all of those things. And if we want to hook up an external camera to record on the track or anything like that, we can as well. We got the camera button up here. In 2018, when Dodge said they were coming out with the Durango SRT, I just thought that was super cool. It'd be awesome to have a 3-row SUV, 475 horsepower. Let's be honest, why do you buy a Durango SRT? Well, 3 rows, rides nice, but ultimately it's for that 475 horsepower because we didn't get it for fuel economy. I mean, yeah, it has cylinder deactivation. Sometimes it'll run on 4 cylinders. So, you know, if you're lucky and drive the speed limit, you might pull 18, 19 out of it on the highway. But the reason we all bought an SRT vehicle was to have an SRT vehicle. We'll go ahead and put it in track mode here, just see if you can tell the difference in the speed of the shifts and everything else. The other cool thing about a track mode is I'm sure you can hear it'll hold the gear, and I mean it's going to hold it for a long time, just so the responsiveness is always there. To me, one of the most impressive things about this ZF sourced 8-speed transmission is just how fast it can roll off shifts. I mean, there's just no way that even with a short throw manual that you can shift as fast as this transmission can. I mean, it just pops gears, and it's just amazing. One of my favorite things on the drivetrain of this vehicle is just how well that transmission meshes to the 392. Yeah, so some of the other things that really kind of I got excited about when this car came out in 2018, and the reason I wanted to get one was that Dodge built it as the most powerful 3-row SUV in the world. And, you know, at that time, it might have been, but Dodge is about to come out with the Big Bertha, the Hellcat Durango, and that is why this one's on the market. It's been an awesome car, would absolutely keep it, but we're going to go for the 710 horsepower Hellcat, so expect that in our future videos. My wife's kind of a badass, and she always liked the SRT products as well. So when this was coming out, I did not tell her I was going to pick it up, and I brought it home and I put it in the garage, and she was at work. And then she got off work, she's a nurse, she got off work late, and she came inside, and she hadn't been in the garage, she parked out front. She came inside, and I said, hey babe, would you grab, I don't even remember what it was, some tool or something, would you go grab that out of the garage? And she was tired from work, so she didn't really question why I was asking her to go do it. And so she goes and she opens the door from our house to the garage, and she was like, no, this isn't real, this can't be real. And she had a really great reaction, and actually I have video of that, so we'll put that on the channel at some point. But when you buy an SRT from Dodge, they also give you a certificate to go do a driving school. It's Bondurant High Performance School down in Chandler, and so we both went and did that together. We had to pay for the second person, but absolutely awesome experience. You gain a lot. They really do teach you practical things, and you get to thrash on their cars, so you don't have to do it to yours. It was a great time. I would recommend anybody go check out Bondurant. if you get the opportunity. So we'll do a little demonstration on launch mode because I told everyone I would. So we just hit this button down by the SRT button. And what it does is it makes you say that your speed's at 0, you have to apply a bunch of brake pressure. And then essentially what you'll do is you'll just hit the gas up to the set RPM that it has set in the system for the launch mode. And as soon as it tells me to, I'm just gonna release my foot off the brake and the car's gonna do the rest. It makes it super simple for launching if you're at a drag strip and wanna do quarter miles, or just get your best 0 to 60 times. So it's almost foolproof. So here we are with foot on the brake and give a little gas. There was 60. Thanks for tuning in today. This is our first video, so we hope you liked it. I hope you go and like, comment, subscribe, and really appreciate you watching the video.